scrubbing them off or, you know, sweating too hard. I did go to the gym just now, but it seems to have hung on. And just again, that is the Revlon Color Stay Semi-Permanent Brow Ink. And the shade is warm brown, so that gives you frecklage. And I have heard feedback from people that they did notice my sudden freckles, so we like that. But we have on our face, of course, we sprayed ourselves down with this Art Naturals mineral water cooling spray. Any kind of like mister bottle or spray, Evian or anything, just to get your skin wet. I went in with this great new product from Eucerin. It's the Age Defense and Hyaluronic Acid Sunscreen Lotion for Face. Broad spectrum SPF 50. It feels so good, and it did not turn me into a ghost. So that's a positive thing for this product. And, you know, Miracle Blur for the eye area. And then from there, we're trying the matte version of our exciting Lucky Charms. I don't know, is that Ireland or St. Patrick's Day themed eyeshadow? We've been trying to organize our new brushes from Real Techniques. It's super clever that their metal eyebrow and eyelash comb comes with a cover, right? I've never seen that before. Keeping it tidy. And, you know, we have a good variety of brushes. We messed with some of them yesterday, but we took them all out of the box. We're holding on to the box in case we want to read about what different brushes are for. But I think that we're in a great place to get a, you know, get a feel for this palette. I don't know what I'm looking around for. I feel like these aren't all the shadow brushes, but I don't know where I've put them in any case. Real Techniques is a great affordable brand, and also BH Cosmetics makes a great affordable brand. Thank you, Sammy. What's up, Sammy? Thanks for getting on the live. I'm trying to look adorable for you. Fake freckles. You know, hopefully I'll see you over at stage somewhat soon. You know, it always feels like hiatus is going to be so long, but then hiatus is not that long after all, right? We have a couple of months to ourselves, and you know, work never stops. You know, I'm actually doing some kind of industrial for hey, Sammy. Sammy, you're not somewhere busy today? You know, I would think you're up to things. We're gonna pick one of these colors to make a transition with. Maybe we will go with one of these greens. There's one that's a little bit more blue, and get this on our lids just above the crease. So we're testing out this new eyeshadow base. It's not an eyeshadow primer, and I often wonder what the difference is between eyeshadow primer and eyeshadow base. Maybe we should move it in more of a stamping motion. But yeah, I'm trying to do, you know, just some quick experiment with a new palette, and then hopefully get out into the world to do some errands before the close of the business day. I am doing General Hospital this week, and I was excited to see that one of my friends got lines on the show earlier this week. You know, playing a doctor, which is very General Hospital. So bravo to Lonnie Henderson. He's such a great guy and a really good writer, and you know, produces his own shorts as well. There's one that he did about, you know, kind of like diverse superheroes, both LGBTQIA and, you know, different ethnicities, and it was just really, really good. And it's called Superstar. And if you have a moment, you know, to check it out and check him out, that would be great, because he's a really interesting producer and actor with a really great voice, and it's, you know, it's just great to see him doing his thing in all, you know, aspects of the business, right? You got to follow the money, get your union days where you can, and try to build a brand for yourself, right? Try to be kind of recognizable with your voice and with your performance across different media. You know, and he does a great job of that. I certainly aspire to do, you know, what he does. He's a very fit gentleman. He actually used to be a Broadway dancer, and has made the transition into other parts of the industry, which is admirable. You know, certainly SAG-AFTRA, the SAG-AFTRA Foundation and the Actors Fund are very supportive of people branching out, you know, from what their initial work in the business may have been to, you know, new aspects and new opportunities. Just using this random pencil brush that I'm sure I got at the dollar store. I don't think it's branded, but you know, this green went on in an okay way. It seems to be a little bit patchy, but I don't know if that's my fault or if that's the product. But this is my second Nicka K palette, and I'm, you know, I'm on the fence about it. Certainly it's a very interesting color, and I think our next step will be building up our outer crease, and maybe we will get into, what do you think, the brown or this deeper green shade? You know, maybe we should rock with the brown, because I think eyeshadow looks very sophisticated when it's an artful blend of different colors. So we're just looking in our mirror, hopefully you can see me, and stamping this brown along the lash line and then the visible part of just the outer third of our lid, right? If our eye is closed, we have a hooded or a deep set eye, then you can't see where all the color goes, right? So we just want to kiss it right above that crease so that when the eye is open, you can see it. Do you see the kind of depth? Just a darker shade gives you, just on that outer corner, just to emphasize the architecture of the eye, not to change the shape, right? But to give it some weight and definition, you know, so that if you're seen from the side, you're not just looking like a raw piece of chicken. You're looking like a chicken that's been seasoned and dressed, if you get my meaning. I don't know if my friend Sammy is a vegan, if he's gone full Hollywood, or if he's, you know, still eating a variety of protein. You know, maybe only organic, depending on what's available and preferable for an accomplished musician that he is, and also actor. You know, it's just really great to know cool people here in town, because I've started doing like a short series on narcissism. There are just some like tactics that people who are not cool will attempt. And again, looking at your eye when it's open so that that outer corner architecture is visible. And you can get it into the crease too if you like, but you really want to make sure that you see that outer corner. And that's why using a smaller pencil style brush is important for just building this outer third and thinking about it being not only visible but lifted, right? Try to make it symmetrical between your eyes, but don't cover up your good green. You want to just sort of add something to the mix that is going to look exciting. So from here, you can make a choice to blend out this shadow, right? And I keep going back to a brush of somewhat, I don't want to say evil, but misbehavior. The Jeffree Star times Morphe JS5 blending brush. You can't beat it for what seems to be goat hair. It's super like frizzy. It's super kind of abrasive. You hold it from the end and look into your mirror and just try to blend out the edges of those two shadows. So you're blending them together, and you're thinking about having a lifted shape that lifts up toward the end of your brow. I haven't put anything in our brows yet, but you know, you want to create a gradient effect, not erase what you've done, but create a lifted gradient effect so that the colors seem of a piece. You don't want to erase them, but you do want to make sure that they kind of seem like they have drifted across your lid almost like smoke, right? You don't want it to look like harsh edges and a heavy hand. You want it to look blended in and blended together, right? That green, right? And then kissing into that brown, right? It's almost like money, right? Brown money, like a penny. It has its purpose, especially when you're paying people. But green money is always much nicer to receive. Am I right? I don't know where Sammy's gone, making my little jokes. But yeah, just blending it out, seeing how it looks, being thoughtful, you know, thinking about some of the palettes that are out there in the world. I think I saw Rich Lux talking about some controversy in the beauty community where people are using names that are identified with other brands, or you know, mimicking the color palette that people have chosen for their makeup launches, right? And it's sort of, you know, it's like releasing a similar movie when you know that someone has already put out, you know, their Star Wars or something of that nature. Why would you go ahead and then put out your, here's a flat applicator brush from Ecotools. Let's try one of these exciting shimmers. Maybe that one right in the center. It's this exciting kind of lemony. It's got a bit of a duochrome that looks a little bit, maybe green. Get that in the inner third to half of our eye to bring light into the eye, right? And then we can get down with some concealer and contour and all that, and we'll be ready to rock and get in the streets, because that's where we need to be, right? We have COVID test, and then we have work, but in the meantime, we're trying to be responsible about our makeup practice and our social media so that we can, you know, be able to look back and see where perhaps our makeup application has gone wrong, or learn from maybe what we did right, right? I do like this technique of a bright inner corner, and I have looked with interest at some of the recent photos and videos of Doja Cat, and I see that her makeup artist does this on her, right? She doesn't seem to have as deep set or, you know, hooded of an eye as I do, but you know, you feel like you're onto something when you see the technique and the style of makeup that you're doing, or the style of eyeliner, that at least you're making choices that are kind of in the ballpark of what is current, right? Like it's funny to see people in their early 2000s eyeshadow where it's just one shade of pale blue going up toward an overplucked brow. And I think there was a moment maybe in the last year or so where people were trying to say that the little pencil brow was going to come back. I hope it doesn't come back. It's too much work, right? And then it just looks, it's definitely head turning, but I don't know. It doesn't look, shall we say, healthy. It looks like something's gone terrible wrong. But I think for my own eye shape, I do like the shimmer to kind of extend more at the bottom and less, more at the top and less at the bottom. And just make sure that we have a very crisp arc, even though we're not cutting the crease. This on the skin is just reading in a very interesting way. It's more of a kind of lime shimmer, not a sparkle, not a glitter, but just getting back into our Jeffree Star brush, right? And looking into our eye, maybe that brown can lift more into that green, and then just stroking the green and the brown and mixing it with that shimmer so that it's kind of more of a gradient, right? I don't care for a halo eye on my own eyes, but I do appreciate the, you know, sort of architecture of eyeshadow, right? That outer corner, that bright inner corner, making sure there's a blend between shades so that it's not so, you know, kind of stark, and that you're not kind of overwhelmed with shimmer, that it does make sense on the eye, and that gradient effect can be, I don't know, more tasteful. And we've used that matte eyeshadow base, and you know, it's fine. I did like the way the shimmery one yesterday kind of created a bright inner corner without the inner corner needing a colored shimmer. So just taking our same brush and pinching it. I don't even know if we need to actually go in with more product. Just stroking it under the outer lash line, right? I don't like a lot of heavy dark color under my eye. But then from here, we can probably maybe dip into the same shimmer shade, since this is somewhat of a pointy brush, and just get a very thin line just at the inner third of the lower lash line, right? Just so that it seems like the eyes are finished and covered, right? From here, we can just look at things and see how they look, right? Is it too much? Is it not enough? Then we can think about taking our Real Technique spoolie, but also angled brow brush, right? I feel like the angled brow brush is a good substitute for an angled eyeshadow brush, or at least we're gonna try it. Is it thin enough? Do you need a thin brush? This is an angled shadow brush, and it does look to be about the same width, right? So let's try it. And then we're going to create some sort of liner with this brush and just stamp it on. So taking the end of the brush and maybe getting it into that brown, and if this isn't forceful enough, we can always reinforce it with an actual liner. Looking at the lower lash line and the crease, stamping that on, right? That's a pretty good angle. You could stamp it a little bit longer, stroke it in toward the eye, and maybe take that liner a little bit under the lower lash line, just to give us some sharpness and the suggestion of almost a shadow from your lashes, or another lash, however you choose to see it. Other side, looking at the lower lash line and the hood of our eye, and just stamping that on, right? Go in again, stamp that on, stroke it toward the lash line, and actually under the lash line, right, to get some nice definition. And just checking to see symmetry and length, right? Nice. We're looking a little haggard because we haven't put any other makeup on our face. Just making a little inner corner flick. And I never find that quite satisfying, right? You kind of need a sharp either liner, pencil, or liner, preferably brush. Foam tips can help when you don't have the one that's actually a brush, but I actually quite like that set of colors. You know, I think if you were wearing something white, then this color palette would kind of pop, you know, kind of given what you're doing with your outfit. From here, should we conceal and contour and then put some kind of foundation over it, or should we do a blurring cream or some kind of BB cream and then put foundation? So the question is whether to underpaint. Do we contour and highlight and then add some kind of unifying foundation? Let's try that. I'm just kind of eager to cover up these, what looks like dark circles under my eyes. So let's gamble with the very pale, light NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum. And get this on our very smallest fingers. All right, just a little drop, tiniest drop. See what's what, right? Spread it across both our fingers, and then get that under the eye and around the nose, and then lifting out of the mouth, right? That's supposed to be the modern application. Right around the nose, the eye, tap that in, down the sides of the nose, you know, prepare for the contour to come, but definitely lighting those areas up, not with a heavy hand, but just a light layer, right? We don't want to look as painted as we were yesterday. Yesterday was, you know, we were trying to lighten up a Charlotte Tilbury concealer that was very pale, right? Lifting out of the mouth, around the nose, and then just getting enough of it under the eye to brighten that area. Any excess you can bring down the side of the nose, and just see where you are in terms of, are you kind of lit up enough, right? You kind of put a, what is that? What were those French chef characters in Bugs Bunny who would twist their mustaches, and something about Antoine. I forgot what those cartoons were about, but just getting a little bit more of this concealer. I like it because it has a tidy applicator that doesn't even tempt you to actually get that applicator on your face. Just trying to do a little preemptive highlighting under the contour to come. We did a really nice job of contouring with that Black Radiance foundation stick yesterday, so I feel like maybe we want to do that again, right? Not wanting that highlight to be too low. Looking at that eyeshadow again, thinking about maybe adding an eyeliner. I'm not the biggest fan of fake lashes and mascara. I don't feel like I have enough of an event to go to. Maybe get a little bit more of that light colored concealer on our tiny fingers. The lowest third of my face is small compared to my forehead and the middle, so I like to use highlighter to give a little bit more prominence to this almost invisible chin of mine. We want to take some concealer down the center of the nose, right? Dot some concealer in the center of the forehead, but we want the bridge of that nose to be bright, between the brows to be bright. We just want to tap and rub that in to see if we've got enough highlight, enough attention given to those areas of the face without looking crazy, right? Right, a brighter center of the forehead. We see those freckles hanging on, highlighting this Cupid's bow area, the corners of the mouth. Anyone who's got a little mustache or shadow thereof, you know, a little concealer around the mouth can cancel that out if you don't want to go as far as color correcting. Now again, we've got a few different shades of this Black Radiance stick concealer, and we worked with the dark one yesterday and it looked very, very good. So I think we might rock with that again. I'm just keeping some of the labels on these because the colors are not listed on the product at all except on that little peel off label. I'd hate to lose track. This is chocolate dipped enrobage chocolat. I don't know, enrobage chocolate. I'm not sure. Take this product. We get, this brush was very successful yesterday. This is Real Techniques medium shadow brush. This brush is so huge for shadow. I don't know. Maybe if I had a bigger eye area, I would need all that, but I don't think I do. But I think this is a fine size for looking into your mirror. I hope you can see me. I've got all the lights on. I've got the hair light, the sunlight, ring lights, and my mirror light, and it's hanging on for the moment. We have to hurry because that light doesn't last very long. But just getting some of this on our brush, not applying it, the stick to our face, but just getting it on the brush, looking, you know, working the jaw, seeing where the kind of like bottom part of that cheekbone is, right? And that little line that might come down from there, right? Some people take that line and lift it. Maybe it's a little bit thicker at the back, right? Toward the ear, but giving structure, right? And then looking at the other side, right? Feeling that cheekbone, right? Feeling it, a thin line toward the front that maybe lifts a little bit, and then a line that goes down that defines the muscle on that side of the face. It looks strange to draw it on, but when you see yourself talk, you can kind of see the logic of it. You're kind of giving more prominence to the lines of the muscles that are already in your face, right? You don't want to come too far, but you don't want to neglect the structure of your face, right? As a round-faced person who's on a bit of a weight loss journey, not working on set currently or not too often, right? I'm eating way less than I have been, and I'm trying to bring the scale number down. One of the reasons why is that when you perform with your face, you can see your face and your expressions in your face more clearly the more the muscles in your face are prominent. So you know when like people get angry and they grind their teeth, you can see it so clearly in their jaw, right? Because there's not a lot covering the muscles in their face. So, you know, just as actors and actresses think about, you know, Botox and kind of making, you know, wrinkles less prominent, you can also think about how the amount of, how your body composition, I'll put it that way, can influence how expressive your face is, right? Actor talk. Just using a little bit of that color. And what's nice about this color, once again, this is chocolate dipped. It doesn't seem to have red tones. Sometimes when I mess with darker colored foundations, darker colored even bronzer, stick bronzer, cream bronzer, powder bronzer, there can be some unfortunate tones of red that on my skin look, it really just looks like makeup, and you were just so clocked. Like, you know, you don't want people to think that you're a try-hard. You want them to think that this is natural, right? Using the very tip of this brush to make a very thin line around that pale concealer we ran down the center of our nose, right? We want to look like we're enhancing the lines of our own face. And I personally am a little confused about how I contour my nose, right? I've had professional artists do just the two straight lines. There's all this discussion of cutting the nose here and kind of creating a round tip and a shorter tip, extending the kind of shadow of the nostrils, painting the bottom of the nose to lift the tip, right? You're trying to trick the eye into thinking that your nose is either smaller or a different shape, right? Underpainting, right? We're trying to get this on, and then we're going to think about adding a thin layer of some kind of BB cream or even a foundation powder. But you don't want so much brown on your nose that it looks like you're a brown noser, right? Some of the people on TikTok are just going to town, drawing big brown lines, just one big thick line down the nose, circling their mouth with just one big line of contour. And then of course they use product to cover it up, or they take it off, to my mind, or to my eyes. We take off all of that really dramatic looking contour, but they don't let it live on the face. And it's confusing to, you know, newish makeup users, because it looks like, oh, is that the problem? I'm not dumping and dripping foundation across my whole face. No one wants to put that much product on their face, no matter how old or young, because it just looks like paste. And you know, we see actual, you know, actors on set with full coverage for HD camera, full coverage foundation, and it looks chalky and thick. Newscasters too. It's for camera. It's not for real life, right? Just using the same brush, which I'm loving this brush. I can't tell you how much. Let's define the jaw, right? And it feels silly and forced to do it, but when you look at yourself in footage and on pictures, it makes a really big difference. The key is to have a color that's dark enough to read, but not so dark that you look crazy, right? You want to play with different textures, different kinds of products that will, you know, help you feel like you're doing a credible job of contouring, right? In a way that it's effective, right? Lifting out of the eye area, right? Along that hairline, but, you know, not looking like, you know, as I was saying yesterday, I do see people walking around in bright daylight with all the contour and it's so orange on their complexion. It just looks, it's not blush. It doesn't look natural. It looks orange. So you really have to judge the color of the product that you're sticking on your face. And if it's not working, you always have your beauty sponge. You can take it off. Or if it's just the weekend and you're not at work and it's not that serious, you're experimenting so that you can see how it oxidizes and how it wears, right? You can use your brush to blend your contour up, meaning up and back toward the hairline, making sure it's thinner in the front, right? You don't want, I see people using these huge brushes to get their contour and their just bronzer on, and it just, it's, your face is small. You don't need a giant brush like that. I think that if you're a veteran makeup applier, maybe you can make a thick old giant brush like that look like a very delicate application, but I think a lot of us really need to think about smaller brushes. And this one is an eyeshadow brush. It just seems to me to be too big for eyeshadow. This covers half of my eye. So how is this a brush for eyeshadow? I'm not taking the bait. I'm gonna make it a contour brush, right? Some people will say that this kind of brush is a contour brush. There's just too much play in this brush, right? You push this down and the bristles go everywhere, right? This is an Ecotools precision powder. It's so big. You don't need to do all that. Just, you know, give yourself permission to think about what you're trying to do, where you're trying to put product. What are you trying to convey? I'm trying to suggest the shape of the muscles in my face. I'm trying to suggest a thinner structure and a straighter structure to my nose, right? Looking at it from the side, I definitely don't want there to be a big, thick, giant, harsh, dark set of lines on my nose, right? Thinking about this jaw contour, I do want darkness, I do want shadow along the bottom of that jaw, making the brightness of that chin highlight look brighter, making the shape and structure of my chin look more structured than it really is, right? But taking this brush, holding it toward the end, and very gently moving that product around, dragging it down the sides of the neck, right, where there are natural indentations and shadows, so that, you know, again, seamlessness, a blend, something that's prominent enough to be seen, but is not going to overwhelm or look distracting when you're on a date, when you're at work. You don't want the people at work to think that you're doing too much, right? Anything that's too much, you can definitely screen down with your beauty sponge, right? And I'm not saying I'm doing it exactly right. Maybe this line over here is a little too thick. We could tap it out with a beauty sponge, right? Just that little bit that just looks a little too prominent and a little too dark. Just so that we're getting that thin line and the subtlety that we want. think we're going to leave the nose alone. And then maybe we're going to tap on our favorite product. Where is it? Here it is. Maybelline New York Instant Age Rewind Perfector 4-in-1 Whipped Matte Makeup. It's just enough, but it's 4-in-1. Primer, concealer, powder, and BB cream. The powder and the BB cream of it, even the concealer and the primer part of it, the primer I care less about, but when I'm in a rush and trying to go to work and be a cop, this is my product. Because even if you put nothing else on your face, this gets it done. And you are perfected, and you are just ready. You know, like maybe you don't have all the time in the world to do your contouring and your highlighting in such an elaborate, time-consuming way, but you just get like a little small green pea size of this on your finger, right? I've never used a brush because you know how I am about wasting product, right? The warmth of your fingers, looking at all the work you've done on that face, you want to get this on 4 fingers, right? Look in your mirror and then tap it on. Tap it over your contour and your highlight, right? Because you want this color and this set of 4-in-1 products to make your contour and highlight kind of sing together. You want it to harmonize it. You want it to kind of like cover up any blemishes or discoloration, but also make your contour and your highlight, that jaw, those cheeks, down the neck, just make it, just restore human color. It's especially important if you have a lesser quality sunscreen that's making you look, you know, whitish blue, you know. And I'm not going to say like that people who are lighter in complexion don't look crazy, because if you go to Runyon, everybody who puts on those bluish white sunscreen have that alien face. But that's not, it's great for sun protection. It's not great if you have to be on camera. People understand that sunscreen looks like that, but you know, it's kind of like your makeup can restore human color, right? Just looking at pressing in around that nose, pressing in around the nose, under the eye, along the cheek, making sure we have enough coverage. Maybe we need a little bit more over the contour on our cheeks, but look at that nose. Look at that forehead. Look how right that looks, right? That contour is still there, right? We're being conservative about how much product we're putting on our face because we don't want to look painted. We want to live more in that clean girl place, just a little bit. We want to put on enough makeup, enough product to look perfected, to give a nice frame to our eyes and our eyeshadow, but we don't want our cheeks to look suspicious. We don't want to look like we've been, you know, wrestling with a chocolate bunny. I hope you got a chocolate bunny this Easter. That is one of my fortunate or unfortunate, that's one of my nicknames at work. And I got a really fire cupcake for Easter at work from Sprinkles that was called Chocolate Bunny. I rave about this cupcake. It was so wrong, and it's part of why I have a double chin. Oh, so delicious. But do you see that? Just a simple pressing and tapping over that contour, right? Over that contour gives you a complexion that's perfected, right? It does look like you've powdered without powdering and, you know, getting product on that just makes you look 1,000 years old, right? That nose is perfected, it's highlit, right? Those nostrils, whatever blemishes we have on our face are just toned down, they're screened down, but you still get the impact of that contour and highlighting, right? And if you feel like you need to go in with more, you can, right? On top of this, you can dig into your basket of different putty blushes, but we also have some exciting new products from our friends at L'Oreal, the Glow Paradise Lip and Cheek Tint, right? We could go to a pink place, we could go to an everlasting coral place. Maybe we'll start at the pink place and see if getting this color on in tandem with this green and lime shimmer and brown outer corner eyeshadow, right? We definitely have eyes that look shadowed. Do we need to give some attention to our brows? Perhaps, right? But just little by little, when you have the leisure, right? You can just work in layers and see what you need. Don't go crazy. You don't have to put all the lip liner and all the everything on, right? It's just not necessary for what we're doing today. But a sheer wash of dewy color with a rush of moisture and a fresh cooling sensation naturally enhances lips and cheeks with a stained glass effect. That's interesting. Weightless formula with aloe and rose extracts bursts into water on contact, then glides smoothly over lips and cheeks for instant hydration. Well, that is a very charming claim. Let's see. All right, we'll try it on our lips first. We didn't line. We may have some gloss on from earlier. Oh, it's a little squeezy tube. Let's see. Right? Getting that right in the center. Pressing that together. Oh, I see what they mean. It is very liquid, and I suppose it dries down from there. That's not terrible. And it does feel moisturizing. So similarly, if we get it on our ring finger, just a drop, right? And then press it together and then tap it onto the high points of our cheeks. It has an interesting odor. It's not a fragrance, but it definitely feels emollient and moisturizing. Maybe we want to get it a little bit, a touch more, right? On the cheek, right? But bringing it up near the eye in that Kylie Jenner trend of bringing blush right up under the eye, not down on the apples of the cheek, but just under the eye as if the sun has gotten to you. Certainly there's a lot of talk about pink setting powders from Huda Beauty and Ben Nye, right? Do we need some on our forehead and cheek? I think so, right? Ring finger, gentle application, getting a little pink over that chin highlight, getting a little pink up at that border where the contour meets the rest of our forehead, just so that it looks like we're sun-kissed. We see just a few of our freckles from yesterday peeking through. Maybe a little bit more just on the high point of the cheek. But I don't dislike this color at all. And it's not lifting up our makeup, which is great, right? High point in the cheek, just sort of marrying into our contour. Maybe dance a little across the nose so that, you know, say you had a date to go play tennis, right? You don't want to have a lot of crazy makeup that is going to wander around. You want to have like enough color so that your lips look cute and pink, right? So that when the blood flow happens when you're playing tennis, you look cute and pink like this exercise top, right? You want to make sure that you're looking lifted and healthy. There's enough product on your skin so that you look pretty, right? From here, you can take your spoolie, if you can find it. Where did I put that? Oh yes, because I used it for my eyeliner, right? The other end is the spoolie. And we can maybe try this Revolution soap brow again. We've tried it before, and I do like the e.l.f. one better. It does come with its own brush. Maybe we should use that brush just to keep it, unfortunate word, but keep it segregated from the other soap brow product. I do keep a small dish of water at the ready when I use my e.l.f. soap brow, right? And this is the little dish. It's like a flower from our friends at Daiso, just so that you don't have to interrupt your makeup practice, right? Get that brush in that water, rake it around in the soap brow, right? We're not shy about it. We're trying to get it on that brush and get our brows looking right. But I feel like as much as there is product and moisture, the lift I get from this product is a little bit less intense than from the e.l.f. Soap Brow. And I have heard that the e.l.f. Soap Brow is more of a dupe for the Anastasia Brow Freeze, and I believe it, right? I feel like this product soaps the brow, but the brow doesn't dry down stiff. It feels coated, but it doesn't give you the same brow stiffness and lift where you can feel like, you know, that brow isn't going anywhere. It's gonna stay in place and you don't have to worry or add anything else. I don't feel as confident with this as I do with the e.l.f. one, but I'm trying it again. You know, who's to say I got it right the first time, right? It does have a little mirror in it, which is, you know, nicer in a way than the e.l.f. Soap Brow product. But, you know, after a few minutes, it's still quite wet. And, you know, again, I'm using the same technique, the same dip in water, the same comb up technique. You know, a very fluffy brow. I like to actually round the ends of the brows, sorry, with my brush so that they're not sticking up like I'm a anime villain. You know, and I do find this product, it just leaves little lumps of soap on the applicator. It's not terrible, it's not great. You know, I do have a gap in my brow here, and sometimes I color it in. It would be great if I could rely on a brow soap to just, you know, do a Donald Trump comb over with my brows, because I really don't want to pull out a whole brow pen for just one little sparse bald area. So normally I don't. And then the soap brow gets your brows wet, so your brow product has to be delayed but not denied. Oops, sorry. But just looking at this highlight and pink chin, these pink natural looking lips, these pink and radiant cheeks, top of the nose, forehead. I feel like we look pretty. If the intensity of this eyeshadow palette is a little much for day, I feel like it would be much more appropriate at night, right? And it's not like I was really looking to do a daytime shadow look, but I didn't think it would be, you know, kind of so intense and dramatic just from the way it looked in the palette, right? Once you put a shimmer on, you really can't kind of take it down or take it off, and you do want that brightness, but given the saturation of all the colors, they're so dark, we could actually add a brown liner. I've been loving these LA Girl Perfect Precision eyeliners because they're cheap and they do the job, right? Just looking at where we've lined our eyes with eyeshadow, right? We can just reinforce it with a little bit of pencil, right? Maybe drag that pencil along the upper lash line. You could use a smudger brush just to smudge that in. You want that line thin. You maybe want a little bit of an inner corner flick, right? Pencil isn't going to give you that much precision, but it's not necessarily super serious, right? And if our eyeliner comes straight out from that bottom lash line, right, evoking the gesture of an actual lash or a shadow of a lash, right? Marilyn Monroe would put on mascara, but then draw an eyeliner line both up and down because the down one suggested either a lash or the shadow of a lash, like making her eyes look much more dramatic in photographs and on film. And I feel like those lessons from, you know, stars and makeup artists of old are still very relevant, because it's what you're looking for is that drama. You don't want to look like, oh, I'm just natural, I just got out of the shower. You want to look a little enhanced, like you've made a little bit of an effort, like you've tried to lift the eye, intensify the structure of the face, reinforce a jaw that has been compromised by cupcakes and Blue Bunny ice cream, you know, but not go, you know, not go too far. Does this lip area need a liner? It doesn't really, but we can experiment. This is what we used yesterday. It is the Cold Brew pencil from our friends at NYX. It's a suede matte lip liner. Just using the very tip, just to give a little edge, right? Right, make that X over the Cupid's bow, a line up the center, maybe under there. Press your lips together. Then use, you know, your pinky finger just to brush that liner in toward the center of the lip, just so you don't have harsh lines. And so that is a liner enhancement on that Glow Paradise tint, Pink Serenity, number 20. I quite like it. You know, if I were playing a mom, a school teacher, a cop, a professor, something like that, where you don't want to have a lot of makeup on, where you don't want to look like you're, you know, a try hard or something like that. Taking the eyeshadow out of the equation, the other parts of my face look right for that, but this eyeshadow looks like I could be at the club, right? So it's not exactly giving what the rest of the makeup gives, but you know, that's the beauty of experimenting with your cosmetics at home, because you're figuring out what your different makeup products have to give. So if I know I'm doing a certain kind of scene, if I know I'm a villain, right? Where I'm at the, what is the new club on General Hospital? The Savoy Club, right? That I'm, you know, over there trying to meet a date from Bumble or Tinder or Inner Circle, that this is that kind of like hottie makeup look that could really, you know, turn heads or cause excitement when I walk up to the bar to order my drink. So, you know, another way that you can kind of take this makeup up to the next level, this Georgia Peach shade of Benefit highlighter, right? You can also just take your tiny little brush that comes in the product, right? It's quite a shimmery peach color, right? We're very kind of golden yellow, and just stroke that over the very top of the cheekbone, and that will add a shimmery highlight down the nose, tip of the nose, right? For day, you can sort of decide whether you want to intensify your nose highlight with a white pencil, or whether you just want to let it kind of be the job of a highlighter, right? And that highlighter may give you a touch of the shimmer that eyeshadow has, right? A little on the chin, just so that when you turn your head, you're kind of seeing the same kind of shimmer at play in different parts of the face, and it doesn't look like there's an island of shimmer alone and lonely on your eyelids. Does that make sense? So I think that this is a credible look to go to the post office with. What do you think? I'm starving to death, but we need to get on with our business. But yeah, that's our look. You know, I think that this is a credible look delivered by NK Makeup, based in New York. Nicka K, or is it made in Germany and PRC? That's People's Republic of China. I never know. It does contain talc. We know, we've been watching that not so pretty documentary on Netflix, but you know, as long as you're putting on makeup and washing it off or exercising it off, you should be okay. Just don't, you know, get it in any intimate areas, I think. But I quite like this. I like what the eyeliner has done on our lids, and now I know. It's like you're expanding your repertoire and knowledge of what is in your kit, what these different brushes can do, what these different shadows can do, you know, whether you're the most excited about this look in the day or for night. And, you know, you're kind of learning what you have in your hands so that when the time comes and you need to get out that door and get ready, you know what you're going to get. And, you know, you're practicing your style of eyeshadow application, and, you know, you're seeing your comfort level with the amount of highlight and shimmer that is in your makeup, you know, whether an updo is the right choice, whether this kind of 80s hot pink top is the right choice, you know, but if nothing else, I want to just leave you encouraged and empowered with conducting your own makeup experiences and kind of respecting your practice to prepare and organize and try different things, right? I look back on the makeup that I had when I first started acting and trying to do my makeup for set, and it was not what I'm doing today. I'll put it like that. I might do a video about that, like the old style. It wasn't quite a fail. It was better than nothing, but I didn't know as much as I learned watching, you know, and learning from, you know, the internet and YouTube and other artists, and, you know, even getting your makeup done at like Bergdorf Goodman and having drinks. You know, you learn a lot about your undertone and the face structure and why, you know, you want to shrink the forehead and maybe expand the chin in my case, or enhance not only the cheekbone but also the structure of the face so that it doesn't look just like a round thumb, which is often how you can look if you put on just a lot of full coverage foundation and do nothing else to your face. And certainly we see it all on set. But this is Tanya signing off, encouraging you to get camera ready, and I will see you next time. All right, be well and get out and enjoy the day. Bye.